I just want to see if Burn Runecraft can actually get it done. If it is this good for new players to get into, this is the perfect deck that I would even suggest you guys just get started with. Build yourself the Burn Runecraft that you see all of these players playing today and being successful with. Take it to the ladder. Grind yourself some packs.
There it is. Ooh, the Lurching Corpse. That is one of the big tools that Shadowcraft really wants to have early on, and especially if they have a way to pop it, because it can only swing into followers with Ward.
That's right.
Or the leaders. So if he has that option on kind of that turn 3 area and can deny the Mage of Nightfall, that becomes very strong.
Absolutely. And it's looking like Noxious has a pretty good curve here. A bunch of 2-drops, so a lot of access to options over the next 2 turns. Really just depends on what Hafu presents for Noxious on what he wants to play here. But Hafu, again, starting out with a nice little 1-drop sigil, you know? Like a nice curve in hand. Can play that new freshly minted 2/1 Magic Illusionist.
Yes. Now, I feel like in this scenario, right, okay, she is going to decide to spend a Starseer's Telescope, but I was leaning on the play where you hold it just because you kind of want to make sure that the Halo Golem has an activation.
Right.
And the big thing about Magic Illusionist is it provides an opportunity for your opponent to force your sigils to be expended.
That's absolutely correct. So now with the 2/1 Illusionist, it's a lot easier. You know, like a Bellinus Last Words will take it out, things like that. So a lot less sticky than it used to be. But on the flip side to what you're saying, not saving the sigil did give her access to 2 more draws that turn, just to give herself more options for the mid game here. So both players are right. It really just depends on what your style is.
Could do the Carl here, and that's going to give an additional sigil to spend. And it's interesting because you mentioned that Bellinus interaction, right? And I do think that is smart because you play the Carl, and your opponent can actually trade the Bellinus into the Carl and either take down the Carl or take down the Illusionist, and then you're down more resources.
Before, it wouldn't be that good. You know what I mean? Now Bellinus is great against the early game of Burn Runecraft, and I really like that effect. And Hafu actually trading out the Magic Illusionist so that Sigil will remain in pay, not give Noxious that option to get rid of the Sigil so that Halo Golem or Mage of Nightfall can be live.
Now here's a question for me. Do you prioritize Mage of Nightfall or Halo Golem?
It's tough. Against Shadowcraft, it's really hard because they do have some combos that can take it out, such as Lurching Corpse with a Demon Eater, you know, or any sacrifice effect for that Lurching Corpse to get it out. Realistically, if I see Lurching Corpse, I probably don't go Mage of Nightfall. that's kind of the caveat there.
Yeah. If you had an opportunity to remove the Lurching Corpse before any of that, then you would be feeling pretty good about dropping the Mage of Nightfall there. But
that's right. Like perhaps if, you know, one of those Magic Illusionists stayed in play and then could just trade it off, maybe just break a sigil for it, and then you could play Mage of Nightfall, then if you
it's
have multiple
interesting
sigils.
too, right? Because now the Magic Illusionist actually gets traded in the traditional sense, right? And so the proccing effect, if Magic Illusionist is the only card on board, I'll have to double check this, but my gut feeling in my sense tells me that what's going to happen is it trades into Lurching Corpse, Magic Illusionist is destroyed, the Lurching Corpse does its effect, and then Magic Illusionist pops back up.
Magic Illusionist effect happens before anything else happens, in my experience, so yes. And it looks like Noxious does not have the option to get rid of that Mage of Nightfall, so if in the case that you feel like your Mage of Nightfall is not going to get destroyed, it's always the best play because of the damage it can deal to the opponent in the form of 6 after an Evolution Orb, which is more burn than any other singular card in the deck can do.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. Now, Master Mage Levi in hand of Hafu there, 6 play points. It's kind of the gold card you see in the hand. Very powerful, can just wipe out this entire board and do 3 damage to face. But the trick here is because it's going to destroy that Lurching Corpse, there's a chance that Lurching Corpse hits a high damage follower that Hafu really wants to maintain on board. So I do like the idea of spreading stats here with your Evolve. I think that's very important for Hafu to do.
Oh, wow.
Man.
Okay, so this is actually huge for your understanding of the game. If you know what's happening, you play Prince Catacomb.
Yeah.
If you're playing, oh my god, I have the perfect board for this Odile, then you just play Odile and get your damage in. This is really going to tell. Okay.
Oh!
Noxious not expecting that Master Mage Levi.
Yeah, this is going to be real interesting, and he's going to have to throw in skeletons as well to clear this board with the Odile kind of AoE 2 damage that it's going to have here. But Levi is going to come down. Now, the Levi doesn't get to stay. Right. Because
the
Lurching
Levi
Corpse
will get
actually
removed.
remove it.
Right. But essentially leaving Noxious with just 2 cards left in hand, and that Prince Catacomb is not going to get a huge effect later in this game, really.
That was definitely the opportunity to get value out of that Catacomb.
And really, Hafu, if she's feeling scared, I mean, she has different ways to deal with this board. She doesn't have to use the Magic or the Master Mage Levi this turn.
Yeah.
Could opt for something else if she chooses.
Could do some kind of Oz play here. Now the thing about Grand Summoning is you do actually provide a method guaranteed for that Lurching Corpse to pop its effect.
That's right.
You do have some wards pull up, and it looks like Hafu. I do think this is a safer choice.
This is perfectly fine. If you see what happened, like, yes, Noxious got to clear off a board. He's got board and tempo in his favor now. He's at 13 against Burn Runecraft with more cards in hand than he has.
You're going to have to build up some semblance of a board. If that Catacomb comes down, it could just get Mutagenic Bolted as well, which is going to wipe all the effects. So there is a lot of ammunition on the side of Hafu that can play out against this deck.
So here's something that I think Noxious might have missed. He might have just wanted to play out both of these as a tempo play, but with the way he's taking his time, maybe he did not realize the difference between Storm and Rush. So let me identify that for you guys. Especially with the colors in the game. If a card is highlighted in yellow, it can only attack enemy followers. That's Rush. That's what you get when you evolve something or when you give something Rush. Storm, it highlights in blue. You can actually attack any target you want to. Maybe he was just trying to develop the biggest board he could.
Yeah, it really looks like this. Do you Oz and play both Summoning and Mutagenic in this scenario?
100%. 100%. It keeps the damage flowing. It gives you a massive board. There's no downside to that play. Yeah.
See if Hafu takes the opportunity. Oz is one of those cards. I mean, it's got a lot of words on it too, right? And you have to really have a good kind of understanding of how the board state is going to change and how your hand is going to change after you play Oz. So here it goes.
And now you get to see Hafu take money from the bank in her play points.
Having
Negative 10 out of 7.
You do get a big follower, but that Mutagenic Bolt just kind of takes all of that away. And Noxious, committing a lot of resources in somewhat of a gamble, does not get that paid off.
Now, if there is a scenario where Noxious can get Hafu down to 10, that Aisha is waiting in the wings to end the game. But Hafu has to slow down, and she's not showing any signs of that right now.
Yep. Can play. I mean, there's not a lot of board space left, actually. And there's no good way for these wards to actually remove themselves. So you can't play something like the Alchemist and then a Sigil and then Burn.
I think you just kind of have to get lucky with your Necro Assassin here, unfortunately. I think you jump the 2 rats into the 0-2. Unfortunately, leaving one around. However, you can Necro Assassin one away.
There's lethal on board for Hafu here, right?
Right.
The 2, the 3, the 4, plus the Evolution Orb is enough to do 11 damage.
Oh, got a good one.
Yeah.
That was not bad at all. Unfortunately for Noxious, though, the way he's playing this, these Flame Rats are going to live, and 2 extra damage is going to be going to him the following turn.
And now you can actually play the Burn, right? So you have 3 damage plus 2 plus 2, so 7 damage plus 2, 9. Oh, and the Chain Lightning.
Yeah, really good options here. Honestly, you could even go for a value play with the Dwarf Alchemist here to draw another card that has Earthright on it.
That's right.
Maybe to pull another Master Mage Levi.
We'll see if Hafu actually opts for that.
Yep.
She does. That is actually a really strong play here.
Not the card you want to see.
Yeah. Yeah. And you kind of filled up your hand. Well, you can still play the Earth Sigil and then the Chain Lightning, and that's going to cycle the Chain Lightning to your hand, which is going to set up a very dangerous scenario in the next turn.
It's a great play. Just unmitigated. I've got all this damage. It's not going to stop. Realistically, Mage of Nightfall is not a bad choice either. Again, that represents 6 damage that you cannot trade into. Halo Golem, just fine as well.
What's interesting is these turns are actually much closer. Noxious is nearly at play point 10, and as you can see on board, he can actually put his opponent down to 10.
So close.
And the Aisha with the double swing on the 5 could close it out. But
Noxious had one more turn,
he
could win this game.
Yeah.
From what we can see, he might just have to use that Aisha to board clear just to prevent himself from dying on board next turn.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for him, Hafu has Chain Lightning in hand for an extra burn spell, and those Flame Rats...
He's going to throw the Flame Rats in.
Okay, perfect.
That's going to give him the shadows he needs to use Aisha.
He's got to use Aisha to clear
Use
this.
Aisha for clear. Yeah, you have to. That's going to expend the shadows as well.
That's right. So now the end game for Noxious is done. This is what he's got.
Yep. 1 plus 3,
That's
4.
it.
Oh, that's it.
That's it. The Lyrial off the top for that
Wow.
extra point of burn off the evolution.
2 games in a row. Guess the card she needs on the draw.
Hafu, everything going right for her today. Noxious
Wow.
is going home.
Wow, 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 wow. There it is, a Chain Lightning for 3 damage to face. And we'll be able to take down Noxious, and his worries came true. Mid-Shadow up against Burden Rune.
That's right. And Lyrial. Let's not forget that Lyrial's a great card, okay?
Yeah.
Lyrial's so